Right, so today we're looking at part 9 of Big Ed and Liz on 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After Season 7. It's now been several days since the engagement party fight that we've been covering over the past 3 videos. It was undeniably the biggest fight the pair have had in their 3 years on TV together. The episodes in the run-up to the party were tense, Ed and Liz were evidently emotionally fragile, and pressure was clearly building under the surface. That night, it was like the volcano erupting, with all of the relationship problems violently spilling out, like a pyroclastic flow of anger, bitterness, jealousy, and resentment. But although such a catastrophic event would surely spell the end for any normal relationship, this is no normal relationship. And for Big Ed and Liz, a new dawn merely brings a brand new day.
At the end of the day, through all of this, we both decided that we wanted to work on our relationship. We haven't given up.
Well, you bloody well should have. It is so predictable, but it somehow still shocks me every time. I feel like they talk about giving up on the relationship like it's conceding defeat, almost like it's a negative thing. But sometimes when something isn't good for you, you just have to let it go. But not only does Big Ed rarely, if ever, demonstrate that he understands this, Liz doesn't either.
As angry and emotional as I am, and I'm like, this isn't gonna work out, I know that I don't want to give up on him just yet.
Well, you bloody well should too. I have such conflicting emotions about all of this because on the one hand, I just want to splash her face with some cold water and tell her to wake up and leave the guy. But on the other hand, she's doing all the single women on earth a huge favour by taking one for the team and keeping him away from them. She's like the dating pool's greatest ever lifeguard.
I choose to wake up and appreciate our memories and the love that I have for him. And I know and truly believe Ed is worthy. And I am willing to do everything I can to prove to him that we can make this work.
Why does she want to work so hard for this man? It's like witnessing Stockholm Syndrome before our very eyes. I would kind of get it if she was the only one messing up and she was dating some unproblematic hunk. But to be this desperate to cling onto a dumpy little source of what seems like limitless problems is baffling.
Let me say this, even before we get into the engagement party, I'm sorry.
Okay, I mean, good on him for apologising, but he can't just keep being a terrible partner, saying I'm sorry, but then doing nothing else about it. Saying sorry but not changing just makes the former empty words. And to continue in typical Big Ed style, he then goes on to say that he now recognises in hindsight that the stuff about her being a lesbian was to do with his insecurities and trust issues.
I mean, you're young, you're hot. I saw her and I didn't like it. And it made me mad at her, and I took it out on you, and I'm sorry.
He's gotten quite good at apologising like this at the start of arguments, and I wonder where he's got it from. Do you think he's realising himself that he needs to apologise, or do you think his therapist is telling him that this is the way to go, and he never would have apologised at the start otherwise? Or do you think maybe even the producers are putting a word in his ear to make him come across better, to prevent more of the drop Big Ed from your show kind of stuff, because he's such a moneymaker?
But I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that you want to be with a woman or whatever. That was just me that's acting dumb.
Another welcome acknowledgement, but it's a bit of an understatement, isn't it? Acting dumb was the part where he wrongly assumed in his head that Liz had secretly dated that woman, but the accusation and the tirade of degenerate behaviour that followed it can't just get swept under the rug along with it with a mere sorry that was dumb of me. It's not even close to being good enough.
It's not that I have anything against somebody that's gay. It's the fact that I thought that something was being hid from me, and I didn't like it.
None of this really makes sense to me. Like, he thought something was being hidden from him, which made him mad at the other woman, and then he took it out on Liz. I mean, first of all, getting mad at someone else and then taking it out on your partner is disgustingly toxic. But why would he even get mad at the other woman in the first place? Jealous I can understand a little bit, but it's not as if the other woman owes him trust or loyalty, or a duty to tell him that she had something with Liz.
Where I was wrong is I always jumped to conclusions. I think I got the jealous gene. It's more like, well, you have something beautiful and someone's going to take it away. That's how I feel. Like, it's too good to be true. So I think I'm always going to have to work on that.
I actually don't think anyone can blame him for feeling this way. I mean, his looks are unfortunate, but it's his personality that makes him completely undesirable. If you have neither in your locker and you're dating a woman, of course it's going to feel too good to be true. And of course the threat that someone's going to come along and take her away from you is a pretty strong one, because it's not going to be that hard for them to find better than you. It's funny though, having a woman interested in him is as mystifying to us as it is to him, but it's so classic that people like this don't realise that being jealous and overprotective actually makes their partner even more likely to leave them.
I didn't have the best last relationship, and I was accused so much, and it turned out to be him.
Yeah.
I was constantly cheated on.
Damn, and the fact that Ed cheated on his ex-wife must make this so much more of a genuine threat for Liz. It's crazy how she was repeatedly cheated on and is now in a relationship with someone who cheated in the most significant relationship of their life. But somehow he's the one letting trust issues get in the way of it all.
It's a trigger, like when I say no or please believe me.
And I don't trust you.
You don't trust me. It brings that trauma back up. It makes me feel like, okay, you're questioning me and you're saying this. I was like, I think it's you.
I wonder if a part of her thought that when he was accusing her of being a lesbian, that might have been because he's actually gay himself. Actually, having thought about it, probably not. Everything else I can see him projecting, except from that. I mean, he's creepy and flirts with every single woman that gets caught in his gravitational orbit. If there's one thing you can be sure about with Big Ed, it's that he has an often very inappropriate attraction to women.
Even though our relationship, it seems like it's always, on edge, we always end up coming back together because we're crazy, we're weird, we're different.
And you urgently need to seek professional help. I am glad that she's aware and acknowledges the fact that it's an abnormal relationship, but it kind of sounds like it's just better than her past ones. I wonder if she had experienced a healthy, normal relationship at any point in her life up until this point, whether she would still be like, yeah, we fight and break up a lot and it's a toxic, controlling, abusive relationship. But that's just the way it is, lol. It's like she doesn't realise how messed up this relationship really is.
For me, there's no walking away. And I'm not one to give up, but I do see Ed as someone easily to give up. So I don't even know if he's ever gonna be ready to get married.
It must make you feel constantly anxious knowing that you've been picked up but could get dropped again at any moment. For now though, I'm just glad that they've realised that they're not quite ready to get married yet. Big Ed goes on to say that neither of them want another divorce to their names, so they need to wait until they're completely over the engagement party fight and until they've solved a lot of their underlying problems before talking about getting married again, which is another rare moment of wisdom and clarity from Ed. Although it doesn't take much to trigger his impulsive ways.
Are those wedding bells? One day.
So a few more days pass and it gets to the Friday after the engagement party when Big Ed is due for his next therapy appointment. This time, with everything going on, he tells Liz that she's welcome to come with him and she says that she would love to. The session begins and the therapist starts them off on a light note by getting them to acknowledge something good that the other person has done during the week. Big Ed gives Liz credit for getting up early and going to the gym, which seemed like a bit of a backhanded compliment given all of the fat shaming allegations, but they don't go into it. Liz in turn applauds Ed for giving her space when she asked for it after he was being pushy whilst they were disagreeing over something. And then, taking things a little bit deeper, the therapist asked them what security means to both of them. Liz says that for her, it's never having to start from rock bottom again, recounting a time in her previous relationship where she got off an abusive phone call and was left with $3,000 of debt. In response, the therapist asks her what being at rock bottom entailed for her.
Sending my daughter to live with her dad for a little bit. Sleeping in my car. And so I don't want to go through that again.
Liz has actually had such a rough life, hasn't she? It's easy to forget how recent all of this was too. Like, this horrible breakup was happening whilst Big Ed was dining at her restaurant, flirting with all of her co-workers and getting rejected, until finally moving on to trying it with her. I don't know if these kinds of wounds ever truly heal, but Liz's mum definitely had good reason to say that she needed to heal herself before jumping straight back into another relationship with Ed.
So security for you represents
that I can support myself without anybody else's help.
I had no idea. The fact that you lived in your car just breaks my heart. That just breaks my heart.
I mentioned in a video a fair while ago that terrifyingly, some people go to therapy to find out how to manipulate their subjects even further. Here, it really worries me that Ed is going to take this information and use it against Liz next time they get in a big argument, being like, if you don't do what I say or if you leave me, you're going to be back in your car. Is that what you want? It's not even that speculative because we've heard him do similar several times already. Anyway, Liz realizes that to be able to support herself and not need Ed's help, she needs to go back to work. So she now wants to return to full-time employment at the restaurant at which she's been a manager for the past 3 years.
Lately, I haven't tried to pick up any shifts because there's a conflict of kind of making Ed feel secure that I'm not out late or anything like that. So it's just hard.
But, so may I make a request?
That's not what we're doing in this part.
Oh, Big Ed shut down again. You love to see it. And quite rightly too. I know this is technically his therapy session, but it's Liz's turn to speak right now. Why does he always have to make it about himself? I am curious what exactly his request was though, because they never come back to it. When it is Ed's turn again, she just asks him what security means for him.
So for me to feel unconditional love.
Do you think sometimes that you put pressure on Liz to give you love unconditionally?
At times, I think I do.
Big Ed then actually admits that he tells her that if she decides to go to work, that's basically her saying to him that she doesn't love him. To him, she's choosing work over spending time with him, which he doesn't take well. I gotta say though, other than how disturbingly obsessive and possessive that thought process is, he is so lucky that he's in a position where he can say to her that she doesn't need to work. And it's kind of annoying that he's in that position because being a shitty person is so monetizable these days.
I want Liz to work. I want Liz to have her own life. And it saddens me that I'm coming off as controlling. And I have to admit, based on the past, that Liz going back to work does scare me.
Yeah, if he wants us on his side here, he's gonna need to give us more context. What happened in the past? What was the exact scenario? If she was being waterboarded by her co-workers until she dumped him, then sure. Him telling her not to go back would make every bit of sense. But for now, this just sounds like her being in a position where she's not reliant on him for money, and can therefore leave him if he's not treating her right is what's really scaring him.
My main reservations are working late shifts, co-workers wanting to go out and party. It's the environment.
Apparently also, the people who got into a fight with Liz at the party work at the restaurant, and understandably, they don't approve of Big Ed and Liz being together. To be fair, I can kind of understand why he'd feel anxious about her working with people that don't necessarily approve of the relationship. Like, no one wants their partner to be surrounded by people that are trying to get them to break up with you, but he needs to trust that she's strong enough to make her own decisions and stand by them.
At this point, we're really in survival mode from the engagement party fiasco, and now why are we re-inviting outside pressure that will really cause this relationship, not to work?
To be fair, I could probably agree with him that they should let the dust settle in this situation before doing anything to complicate things further. I think if he's going to try and get to the point where he can trust her to be around people who are constantly trying to derail the relationship, they need to be in a place where they feel like their relationship is secure. The only problem is, given how volatile their relationship is, when are they ever actually going to hit that point?
She needs to have a separate life so that she can love you fully.
Well, it looks like they're healing for now, but with the season only halfway done, I think it's safe to expect far more turbulence coming up. So if you want to catch the next episode as soon as it's out, as well as keep up with the rest of the saga and see more videos just like this one, please feel free to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.